another minute. So hello to everybody who has joined us so far. And we are going to run through basically, as I say, in 15 minutes, we're going to cover everything that you need to know about global tasks. You may not have been referred for global tasks in your needs assessment, or you might have, it depends. It's one of those that students tend to only realize a little bit further along into the year or into your program that it would actually be really beneficial. It mightn't always be obvious at the needs assessment stage because it's so early on in you being in higher level, but it could be really beneficial for a lot of people. So if you haven't already been given a license and we go through this and you find it interesting, you think it would be useful for you, contact us at disability@ucd.ie and I can link in with you on it then and provide a license if so. So I will hand over. This is Bob from Global Tasks, so he knows it inside out. So that's why I asked him to come today, and he was just telling me he's about to retire. So we've got him just in time before that, and he is going to go through now the app in detail. So I'll spotlight you first of all, Bob, just so we're all paying attention, and then you can go ahead and share your screen. I think you have permission to do so, don't you?
Fantastic. Thank you, Sue. That was absolutely brilliant. And I apologise for the quality of my video at the moment. I'm working in a hotel room on the 6th floor, the wind whistling around the building as well. I'm not practicing for Halloween, so you're okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop my video because it looks absolutely awful picture quality. So there you go. Yes, Sue said I am retiring, but I've been working with Global Tasks literally since the day it was released. I absolutely love it. It's nice and simple. So what I'm going to do with you is run through and go through Global Tasks with you. So I've shared my screen. You should be able to any minute see Global Tasks. Can you see it, Sue? Just nod if you... Can you see Global Tasks?
Sorry, I'm muted there. Yes, I can indeed.
Excellent, excellent. So Global Tasks was designed by Lex Abel's MD. He's severely dyslexic, and he really does struggle with managing his tasks and what have you. He's used every program out there, free and paid for, and nothing would give him everything that he wanted. So he came up with the idea of Global Tasks. Now, Global Tasks is an app, so you don't install it on your computer. You access it with your browser. So that means it works on PCs, Macs, and Chromebooks. And it works in all the popular browsers, including Safari, Firefox, Chrome, and I'm using Microsoft Edge. So it works in all of those. When you get Global Tasks, you also get the mobile app, and that does work on iOS and Android phones as well. Unfortunately, I haven't got the right adapter with me, so I can't show you the phone screen today. But it is very, very easy to get to grips with, as is the main program. So let me just... So off we go. So if I press the F11, F11, yes, there you go. So I maximized my screen for this. Now, what Global Tasks sets out to do is to ease the cognitive load on your memory. So what people are doing, they're relying on Global Tasks to do all the work for them. And that clears the memory to work on other tasks rather than worrying about all of these. Now, I've just set this up. It assumes that I am working or I'm studying history and geography. I've also put a few things on my home life and my social life. Social life is a fairly new thing that we realise that Global Tasks is being used for. Because you get reminders on your phone, you don't miss any appointments you've got for your social life. So students are finding that absolutely useful. Now, one thing we say about Global Tasks is you can see the big picture. So what you can do is you can zoom out and you can see all of the tasks you've got on for the term, the year, the project. It's all there on one screen. And this is one feature that was missing for Neil. Before he had Global Tasks, if you wanted to see all of his work, he used to write all his tasks and projects out on little pieces of paper, lay them out on the floor, and then stand up and step back. That was how he saw the big picture. So this mimics Neil standing up and looking at all his work. We also say you can hide the noise. So if I was studying, if I had a history essay due in 3 weeks' time and a geography essay due at the end of this week, I could go and hide history for 3 weeks or click on geography. And all I've got now is that in my vision. I've taken away all the distractions of everything else. I'm studying islands, landlocked countries and kingdoms. So I've got all my 3 little sections laid out there. And if I want to work on islands, I can click on it. Where it says description of task, I can put all the tasks, facts and figures I need in there. If I scroll down to show more, I can also put little subtasks here. So I've got those with me, and you can put everything there to complete that part of the project. Now, going over to my private life, you can see there I've joined the hockey team, I've joined the band, and I've also joined the debate panel. So that means now these are the 3 things that are really important to my life, and I'll get reminders for them on my phone. The other nice little thing with global tasks is if you want to, you can change a task into a project very, very simple. All you've got to do, click on debate panel, convert it to a project. And there you go. I've organised my first debate, tea versus coffee. Very, very controversial. So once I've done that, I can then click on it again, and then I can edit and I can convert it back to a task very, very simply. So that's what I say with it. It's all nice and simple. Now, one important thing we've got is your to-do list. And we only ever show you 3 priorities. These are your top 3 priorities. So again, we're not bogging you down with work. You know you've got to work on Henry VIII's wives. You've got to look at his castles and look at the government that he formed. So that's all you need to concentrate on. You've taken all the distractions away. Then you've got your next 5 priorities, and that goes into Ironbridge, and then Henry VIII again, and then you've got everything else underneath. Now, if you think, actually, I want to break from Henry VIII, I want to do Ironbridge, all you've got to do, put your cursor on those 6 squares, drag it up, and what will happen is that will go into 3rd place, and then you can hide these, and then you've got a new schedule. Very, very easy to adjust. And also, if you think, well, Ironbridge, I want it up the top really, you can drag. Oh, yeah, you can drag and drop. Now we've got your due dates as well. Oh, I've got one overdue. I'm not a naughty boy. I never complete these, but I've got one overdue task. I've got one due tomorrow and one later this week. So I've got quite a light week this week. Then I've got 3 pieces of work next week. To address that overdue, all I've got to do is click on Henry VIII's wives, click on the little calendar, and then it's only a day overdue, so I'm not too bad. But if I think, well, I'm going to give myself until next Monday, so I'll reset that date. Once you've set the date, you can then set repeat or recurring tasks. You can get them popping every day, every week, every month. And these are really useful. You get reminders on your phone. Even something simple like organising your shopping list of a Friday afternoon. You can put your staples on there, tea, coffee, bread, milk, cereals, and then add anything else before you go shopping. So there you go. That looks a little bit better. I've got 4 pieces of work next week. Now, one other thing for me to mention, this is my home life. I want to organise my bank account. But what I can do is I can order notifications to pop up on my smartphone. I can either set them in relation to the due date, as you'll see there, so many weeks, days or hours before. I prefer, this is how it suits me, I prefer an exact date and time. I like to be told what to do. So this is the one I use for my reminders. But you've got the choice and it's very easy to set. You have to say to your phone, allow notifications from global tasks, and then you will get those pop-ups. If you like doing mind maps and mind view, what you can do now is you can bring your mind maps over into global tasks. So I've got a simple little one right down the bottom of this list. It's called topic and open. And that's now going to import that data. So what I've got now, there's my little mind map, now looking like a task management project. So I've got the heading, the main headings, the subheadings, and all the little subtasks. And the nice thing about this is if you've got a subtask to action, you can sort of tick those off when you're walking around in about. Now, you can color code. You can either go into social life and change the color of everything just by edit and go down to show more. So you can change the color of everything. Or if band is important, click on band, show more. You can change the color. Now, I know red isn't everybody's favorite color. I'm going to change it to red and I'm going to make it larger. So now that stands out as it's important. And if I go back to the overview, scroll across, there you go. You know that's an important piece of work. We leave the writing the same so it doesn't distract you. It's just the color that we've mentioned. And obviously, if you've done that or you realize you've got a mistake, you can undo and put it back to how it was. The other thing with these, I've got bank account, dog sitting, and change broadband. I've done my bank account. So what I can do is I can put a little tick in that circle and that completes my bank account. I've taken away the distraction. Broadband, I've got another month to go. So I can go to hide and I can choose a date next month, hide task. And again, I've taken that from my vision. It's not going to distract me. If I want to check what I've got hidden, all I've got to do is click that little button there. And there you go. Change broadband is faint. So what I can do, I can click the show button and I've brought that back into my project. Likewise, I can see what I've got completed. When you complete, it doesn't delete it, it just puts it on the back burner. And again, I can bring this back into play. So you're totally in charge of what you complete, what you hide, and what you bring back into video. If you don't like the dark background, you can go for a light background. I won't do it because it is rather bright. But the nice thing there is if you've got something like Claro Read, they've got overlays built into their program. So you could make it lemon, ivory, cream, whatever background you like, you can change the color. Now, I can't show it you, but the mobile app, it looks very similar to this. It's what we call the swim lanes. So it's got all of these lanes there. The only thing you can't do, you can't zoom in because it would look so small on a computer screen. But you can work with it. You can delete things. You can add. You can create projects on your phone, and that's useful if you're in a non-signal area. When I used to travel into London regularly on the tube, I could work on global tasks, and then when I got back to my hotel on the night, it was all there on my computer for me. It will liaise. So I hope you can see there how simple it is and how much it takes out of your thoughts, and that means you can concentrate on your work. Now, if you do have global tasks and you've got a question about it, there's a little blue circle in the bottom right-hand corner. Click on that. And who's on duty today? Right, okay. So at the moment, it's got Kay. There's Katri and Rob are looking after that at the moment. Send them a message. If they're there, they'll treat you as a live chat. If they're not there, they'll treat you as a message. So that is rather good. And then the other thing is that you can have a look at the demo mode. I will send Sue the link to this. So if you want to have a play about with it, you've got this demo mode. We've populated it there with some stuff for you to play with. And then when you finish, up in the top right-hand corner, reset data, it goes back exactly as it was when you first used it.
Brilliant. Thanks, Bob. Can I just ask, would it normally be the case that do you find students tend to have, say, a folder for every module or a folder by assignment, or is there a typical kind of way of using it, or does it vary?
I think it really does vary from user to user. Mine, it goes a lot because I do put all my things in separately. I've tried organizing them where you have one project list and then you put different projects down. So in history, you know, I did show you where I got my Henry VIII and my Iron Bridge. But for me, I prefer it laid out. It's a bit more laborious scrolling across, but that's a strategy that suits me. Now, one of the chaps at Claro, he has got everything. He's only got about 3 lanes, and he's got everything neatly laid out in all those lanes. So he is very, very tidy. I've been in the Claro office this morning in his desk. There isn't a pen out of place. You know, you know, so he has everything organized in nice columns.
Okay, so yeah, it very much depends, I suppose, on my tendency would probably be have a folder for every module, and then every assignment a subfolder for every assignment, and then your
That's right,
tasks under that, and then, like you say, hide the ones that are further away.
Indeed. Now, when you do hide them, it gives you the opportunity to set a date. So if you set one for December the 1st, then on December the 1st, it would come back into your vision, and also you'll get it on your phone as well. So if you do hide it, don't worry, it will pop up when you set to have it pop up.
Okay, and what about, say, if you've completed a task that you've set to repeat, does it disappear and then pop back up again the following week, or?
Well, no, if you complete it, then it does away with the reminders.
Okay.
Once you complete it. Now, there's two things: one you can complete and one you can delete. I always worry about deleting, so I always complete because it's there in the background. If you want to bring it forward again, you've got all that data. Well, if you delete it, you can't get that data back.
Okay, that makes sense. That's good to know. I just want to check if anyone who's here has any questions. If you want to, you can put them in the chat box if you wish, or you can unmute and ask. While we're waiting for that, I might just there's a couple other things I didn't realize about the mind mapping. Is that a specific mind mapping software that allows you to do that? Is it MindView, did you mention, or?
Yeah, at the moment, the only one you can use to bring it into Global Task is MindView. We are looking at inspiration to bring that over as well. So yes, at the moment it is only MindView. Again, I was hoping to have this last year, but with the lockdown and everything else, it really has delayed us. But I was hoping to have that with inspiration. So at the moment, it is only MindView.
Okay, perfect. And I just have a question there. Do we email disability about license key? Yeah. Just disability@ucd.ie, and I'll get back to you on that. That's no problem. And one other thing I was wondering there, just when you're going through it, in terms of the priority list, so you can narrow everything down to just show it by priority level. What decides what's in the top 3 and what's in the top 5? Is that how you're laying it out in the overview, or what way does it work?
When it starts off originally, when you start to put your tasks in there, the first task that you put in always goes to the top of the list. Then the second one goes second. So that's the way it decides on the priorities to start. And then, of course, you can go in there and drag them, order them as you want. But that's how it decides the priorities in the first place, as to when you set them in the software.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so there's a couple of different options for how you view everything, depending on what suits you, I guess. Yeah. And is there any kind of what's happening in terms? I know you said development has slowed down a bit over the last couple of years, which is kind of across the board with all the craziness we've been dealing with. What's kind of coming down the line?
One of the things that I've really been pushing for is linking up with a Google Calendar. And the reason why I say Google is originally we set up Global Tasks with Google technology. So I wanted to tie up with a Google Calendar, so you can have a month's overview if you want, or you can go in for a day's overview. And the day's overview would be your personal stuff, you know, dentist at 9, lunch with mother at 12, band practice at 4, and then have all your university work as well. They are working on that as we speak. So that will be the one thing that will pop up. The other thing is where you have the description box where you can put all your facts and figures in the tasks. I've asked them if they can make it so that we can put hyperlinks to web pages or to documents on your computer, and also to put pictures in there. I think that's a really nice little addition. And again, that should be quite simple for them to do. So that's what they're working on. Because it's an app, as soon as we get a new development, we just push it out for everybody. So they haven't got to wait for version 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll just appear as it develops.
Oh, brilliant. So anyone who has a license key now will automatically get those updates as such, because it's all browser based. Oh,
you'll always be on the latest version.
Okay, well, that'd be great. I mean, in UCD, everyone's timetable is on Google Calendar. We have the whole kind of Google suite of apps and stuff. So anything that links in with that would be really fantastic. But I think already as it is, certainly in terms of planning as a separate application for now, that like you can see how effective that would be in terms of keeping on top, particularly for some of the very content heavy subjects and very, very demanding subjects in particular as well. Or as your program goes on, and the demands get higher as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Do we have any other
You imagine somebody studying medical or legal where you've got these 5-year courses. There's a lot of information to take in there. So yes, it's ideal for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a medical student yesterday inquiring about it for that exact reason. So yeah, that's definitely would be beneficial there. Has anyone else any questions before we kind of wrap up?
Well, people are thinking about that, I will send you that link, Sue, for the demo. And if anybody queries or questions that you want that, please send them that link out with pleasure, and they can have a play about with it, and they're not mucking up any important data. They can practice on that one and then reset it and start again.
Brill. Well, what I might do, I'm putting this recording up on the All's YouTube channel. So if it's okay, maybe I could put the demo link in the description there.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That'd be great. So yeah, if anyone has missed today, we will be putting up that link shortly as well. So I think that's it for now. Bob, thank you so much for coming on, and best of luck with your retirement. Enjoy every minute. Counting down.
Thank you very much. I'm sure my wife's working on a list of jobs for me to do already. And apologies for the picture quality. The camera isn't very good on the laptop anyway, but the light is a bit more. So apologies for that. But Sue, thank you very much for the opportunity. For students on there, if you do have any queries about global tasks, please go back to Sue, and she can always either ask me or my colleague Lou, who's looking after when I go. So, but if you do use it, good luck with your studies with it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks
everyone. Sue. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.